Hi everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. So this is a slightly different video to the normal Vlogmas fare. Though I did try to wear something that was a little bit festive. I found this sparkly cardigan in my mother's wardrobe and I thought, you know, this might do the trick for a little festive, peppy joy. Though to be honest with you, like paired with my little Les Mis brooch, I feel like it looks less like peppy, festive fun and more like I'm about to go to a DAR meeting with Emily Gilmore. I'll leave that one with you to decide. But I'm coming to you today because I've got a fun little announcement. So to give you a little bit of context, back in, I think, June or July, I think it was, I did Kieran from KD Books' original tag, which was the Idiom Delirium tag. And one of the questions in said Idiom Delirium tag was to talk about a book that you have no intention of ever reading. Along with that question was also one which asked about a book that you have intended on reading but haven't for whatever reason. Now, in Kieran's original video, he mentioned that a book that he has been desperate to read but hasn't done so for whatever reason was Ulysses by James Joyce. And him saying that kind of sparked something in me, and when I went to do my version of the tag, I mentioned James Joyce Ulysses as a book that I have absolutely no intention in reading. And that, dear watcher, is how this all began. Because almost every single day for a very long time after I made the statement, I never want to read James Joyce's Ulysses, Kieran would message me on Instagram or YouTube being like, so when are we buddy reading Ulysses? When are we buddy reading Ulysses? And no, it is not an exaggeration to say that it was multiple times per week. Every single time I thought he was close to dropping the subject, he would pick it up again. It was never ending, guys. It was never ending. And the thing about me and Kieran is that we are both pretty stubborn people. So this was going on for a few months. Me being like, ha, lol, no. And him being like, come on, let's buddy read Ulysses. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, oh, this is just not going to stop until I say yes, is it? So I decided to throw a little curveball of my own. And I said to Kieran, fine, I will buddy read Ulysses with you on condition that you read Les Mis with me. Now, you may know from my videos, particularly my books that I want to reread video, that I absolutely love Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, but I've only read it the one time because it's a chunky boy. This particular edition that I own is 1,432 pages long. It is known as The Brick for a reason. But I loved the experience of reading it the first time that I did. I felt such a feeling of accomplishment. And especially since I bought this edition, which is the new translation by Christine Donahue, I've been really desperate to pick it back up. And on that discovery that Kieran had never read Les Mis, I thought, fine, you want me to read this horrible, challenging thing that at some point has no punctuation in it, then fine, I'm going to set a literary challenge for you. And miraculously, Kieran accepted this challenge. And when I mentioned during my 1K Q&A that me and Kieran were talking about reading Les Mis, quite a few people were interested in making it a read-along. And all I can say is, wow, you guys. You're just as mad as we are. Yay! And so I am very pleased to announce that myself and Kieran at KD Books are going to be hosting a Les Mis read-along. We are going to be trawling through all of the many, many pages of Victor Hugo's classic novel. This is going to be running from January through to March, so there is plenty of time. We're hoping that that's going to give people enough time to read this, and because there are 5 parts in Les Mis, we were hoping that we would keep at around about 2 parts per month. So trying to read part 1 Fantine and part 2 Cosette in January, then reading Marius and Saint-Denis in February, and then finally part 5, which is Jean Valjean, in March. However, I do know that the Saint-Denis section is the longest section, the longest part in Les Mis, so we've got a little bit of extra time there. We've also set up a Discord server for people to chat about their experience of reading Les Mis. We've broken down the categories by each of the 5 parts in Les Mis, and then we've broken down those categories into little channels. Each of the channels corresponds to a certain number of chapters in each section of Les Mis. Some of the channels will be just for covering one chapter because that chapter is so long or so iconic within Les Mis. Some of the channels may cover 3 or 4 chapters depending on how much happens in them. And each of those channels roughly corresponds to between about 50 and 80 pages of each book. We were hoping therefore that nobody feels like they have to really rush to catch up to avoid spoilers. Because I've read Les Mis before and I know what like the big spoilers are, I've tried to organise it in a way that makes sense. Trying to keep different storylines all together so that you're not getting like differing spoilers on each one. And yeah, just generally trying to keep some sort of order to the Discord and trying to contain certain storylines to certain channels. I hope that all made sense. I've also highlighted on certain channels, right in their titles, where there are some digressions, let's say, that Victor Hugo goes on. The 2 most famous digressions that Victor Hugo goes on in Les Mis is his Battle of Waterloo chapter, where basically Victor Hugo spends a good 40 pages talking about the Battle of Waterloo, to which only the last 2 pages are actually relevant to the plot of Les Mis. And then later on, where he talks for a good 30 pages about the Paris sewage system. That one I'm going to give him more leeway on because it is much more relevant to the plot. Though I'm not going to lie to you, if you do choose to read along with us and you get to those sections of the book, I will not judge you at all for wanting to put the audiobook on and just trying to race through those sections, because it is really the best way. I love Les Mis, but 40 pages about the Battle of Waterloo, man, no! And also because it's me, I had to mention my favourite adaptation of Les Mis. On each of the different channels, I have highlighted which song in Les Mis corresponds to that chapter's contents, because of course I did. I also asked Kieran to include a little section for people to talk about different adaptations of Les Mis that they like. At the moment, we've just got 3 adaptation channels set up, one for the musical, the stage musical, one for the 2012 film, which is based on the musical, and then one for the 2018-2019 BBC production, purely because those are the 3 that I have seen. I've not seen the 90s film starring, I think, Jeffrey Rush and Claire Danes, and I have not seen any of the French language adaptations. But if there are any other adaptations of Les Mis that you'd like to chat about on the Discord that I've not included, leave me a comment down below and we will add that channel. In this reread of Les Mis, I am going to be going through the Christian Donahue translation, so just bear that in mind if you are planning on reading along with us and you're trying to navigate the Discord channels, that some of the chapter titles that I have included may be different to yours. But I'm hoping that the way that we have set up the Discord server is going to be fairly intuitive. So like I say, we are going to be starting this Les Mis journey in January and carrying through on to March. We're going to try and keep it at a pace of around about 2 books per month, but you can go as fast or as slow as you like. That's really why we wanted to break the Discord down into different sections so that people don't worry about having to race through. And you know, wintertime is dark and dreary and miserable, so you know, when you can't beat him, join him. And aside from that, it's a way of starting the new year with a massive accomplishment, because this kid ain't easy. And just think how great it will feel to get to March and say, I have finally checked off Les Miserables, one of the biggest books known to man. I have 2 copies of this now, like I could do weight training or something. Anyway, that's it for today. Do let me know if you are planning on reading Les Mis along with me and Kieran. Or like I say, if you're just wanting to chat about Les Mis in our Discord, we're very, very happy to welcome you there. And I'm always very, very happy to have a musical theatre discussion with any of you, so hit me up. I hope that you are all having a fantastic, fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.